Welcome, guys. Welcome to a new episode of Rich and Rich FC podcast. We're here to talk about some games from Matchweek 2 in La Liga this week, or in this episode. So, we start with the two relevant games in La Liga: Madrid versus Oviedo, of course, and Barcelona versus Levante. Now, we're going to kick it off with Madrid versus Oviedo. Of course, Madrid won 3-0 in that game. Mbappe scoring 2 goals and Vini coming off the bench and grabbing a goal and an assist in that game. So, Rich, how do you think that game went? Provided Oviedo hasn't been in La Liga for a very long time, and they're almost going out of business, and now due to some very strong support from the community, they're able to stay in business and eventually work their way up back into a top flight of Spanish football. How do you think the game went?
Yeah, obviously the game went well for Madrid. In terms of like wins and losses, they won, so it went pretty good. Obviously it's also nice to see Santi Cazorla, 40-year-old player, former Arsenal legend, and a Spain legend, uh, helping Oviedo get back to La Liga. So that was nice to see. Overall, it wasn't like really exciting game, to be honest. It seemed like Madrid were just going through the motions, and Oviedo didn't really have enough to press Madrid, so it was a comfortable win, 3-0, basically. Um, Mbappe keeps scoring, but that's nothing new. But the overall performance wasn't really impressive, to be honest, and Rodrigo got the start. Maestro 20 got the start, but they didn't really impress either. Obviously, Madrid's defense is looking a lot better. Everybody's healthy, plus they brought back uh, basically three new players with what's the guy's name? Alvaro
Carreras?
Carreras. Okay, so he looks good. He has great height, can pass. He's looking great. And then we have Trent, but he didn't start. Went with the old guard, and I think that's a good game to get him back in there because you don't really expect too much from Oviedo. Rodrigo, you know, hasn't really been playing in a must. Stantuani just got to the club, but overall, just they won, so not too much to take away from it.
Okay. So Mbappe scoring a brace, Rodrigo getting the start on the left where Vini was very dominant and has been dominant over the years in Madrid. It's always been Vini on the left. Now Rodrigo going to Alonso's door and let him know that, hey, coach, I want to be on the left, and giving him the start on the left and playing very well on the left, even though he didn't score a goal or assist. How do you think that it's going? Provided Vini came on to his usual position, came in, had a goal, had an assist. How do you think it's going to fare off or work out for Rodrigo, who is pushing to be on the left?
No, I don't think Rodrigo's gonna play out on the left, obviously. Obviously, like even Mbappe wants to play out on the left, and the main reason is why because they're able to cut back on their right and to get those shots, and that's where they feel most comfortable with. But as you understand, in a team set, and it's not really about individuals. It's all about the team. And if you say who's been the most dominant out there, who makes the most sense, if you're using all three players, it's gonna be Vinny on the left. Mbappe is like, yeah, I want to play striker, but he's gonna play striker even for France, for because he doesn't track back. And then you have Rodrigo, and Rodrigo will just have to play on the right hand side like he's been playing, so he'll be fine out there. Um, Now they've changed the formation from what they were using in the Club World Cup. But I mean, they still kind of offensively, it's just everything's kind of running through the individual talents. So that's something I would like for them to change, where it's more like a pattern of play, where the team is producing goals, but it seems like it's the same players, and it's based on just their talent. And sometimes when you play better opposition, that doesn't always work. So they still need to develop chemistry together. Even Vinny and Mbappe, Rodrigo can kind of play with anybody, but As far as chemistry, still needs to get better. Defensively, they'll be better, so that's what makes them dangerous, and they can always counterattack you. So, still a lot to see, even from Xabi Alonso, because we don't really see like what he's doing to help the team, other than basically Mbappe scoring. Their defense is not giving anything up, so it looks good so far. But obviously, as far as like pattern of play, it needs to.
Okay. 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 Also, this week we heard that the Brazil squad for the World Cup qualifiers was listed. And surprise, surprise, the Madrid boys didn't make it. Their old coach, Carlo Ancelotti, did not call them.
Yeah,
What do you have to say about that? Following
yeah.
Vini scored a goal, assisted, Rodrigo played well, but yet their old coach didn't call them. What's going on with that?
Yeah, I wouldn't put too much in that. I think Ancelotti is just trying to see new faces and kind of see like what options are available to him. Obviously, he knows what Vinny and Rodrigo can do. So once again, it's kind of like rotation thing, or just trying to see like new players that are available to him. So, and Vinny and Rodrigo are big fish in that pond. So it's kind of like, okay, let me bring in some players and see who can produce. So that's pretty much it. I don't take too much into that.
So no big deal leaving them out for World Cup
No,
qualifier.
no, not at all.
Okay. All right.
But they also played in the Club World Cup, so technically they still haven't really had a off season. So I think that's also good for them to kind of get some rest too.
Okay. Now Barcelona versus Levante. Now Levante had the field day with the high line of Hansi Flick. They got caught up multiple times. They went up 2-0 at halftime. Barcelona came back, started coming back in the second half, and eventually won the game 3-2. Now, are they should they be worried about how starting the season? They land a lot of goals. They they eventually come back and win, but will better of a position gives them a tough time if they keep going the way they are.
I don't think so. I think sometimes when you play lesser teams, you play to their level. So like whatever the level of the competition, that's what you kind of start off. So it seems to me like more or less it's just a matter of finding the form. It's early in the season, and also the level of competition also kind of brings out the best in you. Well, sometimes it brings out the worst in you. Barcelona has been playing that high line for since last year. And it's, everybody knows their Achilles heel. What helps them can also hurt them. So, for the benefits of the high line, there's also like takeaways that can come from it. But I'm not worried. I would be worried if they lost, but the reason they won is they know they were gonna beat them. I honestly just sometimes even if you go down 2 goals, you're like, we're still gonna come back because we just have that much quality. So maybe it's a lack of respect for Levante in that regard. But no, I wouldn't be worried about Barcelona. The only thing I'd be worried about is they did lose Martinez. So I think that was one of their better defenders from last year.
Yeah.
So if this continues, then it's kind of like, okay, it's a problem, but they can outscore most teams for the most part. But if once you start playing the better team, then you kind of like, okay, we have to kind of sharpen up the defense.
Okay. Okay. So this season, who do you think will be lifting the trophy this season? Who will win the league?
It's early to tell, but it's either Barcelona or Madrid. But it's early to tell. Each one seems to have uh, issues at the beginning. Concern with Madrid's pattern of play and offense. The defense is looking better. They haven't given up any goals. And then with Barcelona, it's just the defense. And then any major injuries also can also play a factor. And I think Madrid has a deeper squad this season. Militao is back as well. Rudiger's there. They brought in Hoyson, who's now like the legitimate heir to Sergio Ramos, it seems like.
Really?
Yeah, he's been good since they brought him in. He's been starting all of the games. and he's been looking great. The only time he didn't play in the Club World Cup was when Madrid lost. So that says a lot about him, and he's young too. So it seems like he's going to be one of those players who's going to be around for 10 plus years.
I see. I see. Now, we have to talk about Atletico. What's going on there? Like Simeone has been there for the longest. He spent a lot of money, yet still the same Atletico.
So
And it's been getting worse.
yeah, Simeone gives the Conte vibe. It's just like I think that at some point the players are gonna get tired of his message. You can't bring in talented players and they're just playing defense. And the way they've started is bad. He's the highest paid coach, and all they do is play defense. They buy some of the better players, and it's not like they're no longer using like players that people don't know. The other players are world class, and they're playing not world class, but legitimate internationals.
Yeah.
Playing some of the bigger teams in the world. Yeah, Julian Alvarez, who's the number one striker for Argentina, and the number one team in the world. So the way he utilizes the offense is looking bad now, and they're having a lot of trouble. So he's been there for a while, and I think maybe his time is up. And then his style is also, to be honest, if you're an offensive player, I wouldn't recommend you to join that team. Yeah.
I mean, if his trust story is anything, yeah. João Felix didn't go really well. Griezmann did well, left because of some, I guess, because too much defense. Came back because Barca wasn't working out. But, so yeah, maybe he he should be looking somewhere else. Maybe Newcastle, but hey, let's not jump into that. Now let's head into FA Cup action. Actually, no. Carabao Cup action. Grimsby Town FC versus Manchester United. That was the feature game of the week. The game that was supposed to give United a boost into their season. How did the game went? Tell me.
So if you're a Man U fan, it's kind of embarrassing, right? And just for my American viewers, just to explain, it's like Kentucky, Kentucky University basketball going to play Cleveland Cavaliers, and Kentucky basketball players beating the Cavaliers in a game that meant something. So that's the context and level of defeat, and it's embarrassing, and it seems to be getting worse and worse and worse and worse for United. The coach looked bad. His tactics is just looking. I don't read like it goes back to this formation, right? So you're playing against a weaker team, and you're using a formation that doesn't really make sense because you should be more offensive and try to get on the front end. And you're playing three center backs against one forward from a lesser team, where you should take out the center back and put in another offensive player and press them and try to get the win and don't give them confidence. So the worst thing you can give a weaker team is confidence. Because if they feel like they can compete with you, they get this energy that, makes the game harder.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. They got this goal, then they got another goal. Now their crowd is in there, and now they feel like they can beat you. And then you try to change things up and bring in reinforcement in the second half, and it's like it's made it harder than it should, when you should have just crushed them in the first half, 3-0, take out your best players there, and then it just doesn't make sense. You're already struggling to score goals. So I'm not sure why he made the changes to take out Bruno and, try to bring Emeno back in and Ugarte. Like, if you're playing those type, you don't need Ugarte, you don't need Casemiro. You just need to be on the front end and crush them in the first half. That way you're not trying to now they've used this energy to come back. Now it's going to affect you for the next game because the players are going to be tired. And you still lost.
That's
So
true.
not only did you play in a game where you're supposed to dominate and win at least 3-0, you went down 2-0 and you should have went down 3-0. Then you brought in your initial starters to come in to try to change things. And then you did come back, but then eventually lost in PKs. And you've used all that energy in the second half to come back. That's going to affect them in the next game. So it's just bad. And then the coach was looking like he couldn't even watch the PKs. He looked at prayers, just the visuals. Everything looks bad for them. The way they lost, even if you come back, you still lost. PKs, your goalie was looking bad. The guy kept diving to the same place. Like, just no, just it doesn't make sense. But hey, I don't give that coach more than Christmas. By Christmas time, I think he's done.
Can United afford to fire him?
Yeah, they could go to fight him. I think that would be the easiest thing. A coach that doesn't adapt, who is just saying, I'm going to use your formation no matter what another team does, is crazy. It's crazy work. You're going to play a team that's not as talented as you, and you're going to use a formation that doesn't make sense because that's the formation you want these players to use. And it's sad. And then he's looking sad. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. If you just looked at him on the bench, the guy look confused.
Yeah, him playing with the magnets on the bench while they were trying to figure things out. What's really telling of how and where he's at right now, it looks like he's low on confidence. He doesn't know really what to do. And I don't want to say he doesn't know any other formation besides what he knows, but seems like he's struggling with something. Something is not clicking between him and his players. Because if the information he's passing on is being received by the players, they should be playing way better against this opposition. It's fourth tier. Literally the lowest tier, the lowest professional tier in England.
Yeah.
So, and the big money signings who all played or started the game didn't score a goal. Exception of Embuemo that he came on and scored. But I can't even give credit to the defenders for being tired. That's why he was able to do that and score a goal.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Wire going back post like he always does. Big guy, ball comes in. He's most likely to score than not. So I feel like they need to really have a heart to heart, coach players, sit down, hash it out, and figure things out because this is bad. Like it's really bad. On any other day, any coach getting fired. Any top team with money, I think United have financial issues, so they can go ahead and fire him. But if any top team with money, if he's gone tomorrow, next day by the weekend he's not there.
Well, the thing is, they've given him a lot of money to invest, and this idea, I think his biggest issue is like his philosophy or however he wants the team to play. He's got to adapt to the team instead of the team adapting to him. Because there's like this whole thing about midfielders he needs and players that he needs. If you don't have the players to play the formation, just adapt to the players and allow the players to do what's natural for them instead of trying to. It comes back to overcoaching, and it seems like him too is trying to overcoach, and he doesn't have the credentials like someone over Pep does. Is with success, so you can't really overcoach players because eventually we're gonna be looking at you like, bro, you don't know what you're doing. Even if that formation worked in Portugal, it doesn't mean it's going to work everywhere else. And he has to adapt, or else that's going to be the job. I think they'll give them up to Christmas, but if things, if they don't beat Burnley, man, Thanksgiving. It's not Thanksgiving, man. Labor Day is right around the weekend.
I guess happy Thanksgiving for United fans. If it's gone by Thanksgiving, they'll be living large.
Yeah, because they've let a lot of players go. expensive players go. They brought in new players, and it's still looking like the same old thing. And he contributed to them finishing 15th, and now it's looking like they're no better than that position. So I'm not really seeing anything other than the Arsenal game where they looked better but couldn't score. Obviously, Sesko needs time to adjust, but you can't just base everything on one or two players because at the end of the day, injuries are gonna occur and the team has to perform. And it goes back to like pattern of playing. I don't see what they're trying to do with this formation that makes it so great that you can't change it.
Yeah. So you think United made a mistake with him and should have gone for maybe Areola or Thomas Frank instead?
If you're looking at it in hindsight, Thomas Frank is a better coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of Thomas Frank saying, I'm going to play this formation. And if it doesn't work, I need players that make it work. Nah, the players are the ones going to be, you're on a sideline looking at the board, making changes on the board. Your tactics can help, but the players will have to win the games. So
Yeah.
players win games. So you have to kind of adjust to players and their best attributes because even with this formation, like I said, it's taken away from Bruno because now Bruno's like being asked to play like CDM kind of role where it's not his best option. Like yesterday, Bruno went to get the ball from Onana. What?
No.
From a kickoff. He didn't even let Onana do the kickoff. He went back there and passed the ball to somebody else so they can pass it back to him so he can try to cross it. Now he's trying to do too much, you know.
He has to help his team. Now let's go down to the PKs. They were the win to the 12th round until they lost it. Sesko was not in the top 5 people taking the PKs. He wasn't the 6th man. He was the 10th. Your leading striker, big money signing, coming to Manchester United to lead the lines and is not bold enough to take one of the first PKs, that's telling on him. Or that the coach saying something.
No, so when it gets to the PKs, the team, the coach will ask who wants to take it. And then whoever wants to take it basically says, yeah, I want to take it. I don't want to take it. And then you kind of make the lineup from there. So that probably just speaks to the level of confidence or form Sesko is in at the moment. Like I said, they have a preseason and he just joined the team. So maybe, we don't want to be the person that loses the game. So you can hide that way. So I think it kind of looks bad for Sesko, obviously, because you're the 10th person or the last person before the goalkeeper to take the PK. So it does look bad, especially if you're a striker, but it also speaks to like his confidence at the moment. And also maybe they're trying to protect him because, he doesn't want to be the reason why they lose the game. So, and even with the PKs, it's kind of like Cunha kind of lost. He didn't lose it, but he had the chance to win it and he didn't do it. So it just everything like when they say it rains, it pours, that's what it means, basically. Like even when you have the chance to win, you lose it. So
it's pouring at Old Trafford. Gosh. Well, that's Manchester United for you. They have Burnley on the weekend. They should to redeem themselves. If not, oh boy, I do not want to be in Manchester on that day. Because
yeah, they win that
riot.
Yeah, they should win. They should win. They have to win. So if you're a better man, put menu to win. The odds should be favorable for you to win if you put it on them because they've been looking bad. Win or draw.
I'm not even sure the bookies will. I'm sure the bookies will have Burnley favorites. Honestly,
Yeah.
from the way they're playing, I don't know, but they're both equally bad. So let's see.
Mhm.
Now let's move on to transfer rumors. Now we have it that Garnacho has the here we go from Fabrizio. We got the here we go from Fabrizio stating that Garnacho to Chelsea is done.
Yeah.
His way to Chelsea, according to reports. So how do you like that? He's filling in for kind of replacing Nkunku, who just got his here we go to AC Milan. So Nkunku out, Garnacho in. What do you think? An upgrade, better player? What do you think?
You never know. You never know. You never know. And right now with Chelsea, with the amount of players that they have, you just don't know. But obviously, Garnacho is a good player. I don't know how well he's gonna do at Chelsea, but he's a good player. Chelsea buys good players, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't work out. But I mean, Chelsea have a lot of players at that level. None of them really have stepped up other than Palmer. But I would say he's one of those players that you just have to watch and see what he can become.
Okay. Okay. Now with Garnacho in, Nkunku out, we also have rumors that Bayern Munich is in for Nicholas Jackson, my boy. What do you think? He wants to be the man somewhere, but going to Bayern
He's-
will not be.
yeah, he's not gonna be the man at Bayern. He'll be more or less like a Hurricane replacement.
Yeah, back up to Hurricane.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much they're buying him for. It might be like,
It will be a significant amount.
I
If
don't know.
you're looking at for a loan option, Chelsea want obligation to buy, but per reports, Bayern want a loan option to an option to buy.
Yeah, I think that
Buy.
the price point of where they're buying or loaning them for is what's gonna trigger that transfer because yeah, I wouldn't. Bayern's not traditionally known for buying players for large sum of money. Obviously they need a second striker in place for Hurricane, so it's kind of a need thing. And if you look at the market, you know, there's not that many great strikers out there, so uh, Jackson kind of fits the bill and makes sense for them, but it all comes back to the amount.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. That's all we have for today. I'll see you next time. Like and subscribe